morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. I'm reporting from London today. This is Tuesday, May 25th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 p.m. in Bermuda. You need to reach us during the broadcast. You can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. A big story that's floating around in our world today is Mark Byrne, who founded the Bermudian Flagstone Re with David Brown, has stepped down as executive chairman after 5 years in the role. Byrne is going to keep his seat on the board as non-executive director, and Brown will continue to serve as CEO. Flagstone in the early days is not bringing in a like-for-like replacement. Mark Byrne is a very good man. He's done an awful lot of good work as the president of the Bermuda School Board, serving in a non-paying role, putting up with a lot of headaches. So best of luck to Mr. Byrne. Going on to British Petroleum and what's going on in the Gulf, today is the day, actually tomorrow is the day where they're going to go for the top kill, the so-called top kill. This is the operation involving shooting heavy drilling fluids into the well, followed by cement to seal it. According to BP, if the job works as planned, by Wednesday evening we should know if it's successful. If it works, the flow should be stopped permanently. So by this time tomorrow night, actually, that thing might be stopped. BP is also still running into a difficulty with the Environmental Protection Agency ban to find and use a less toxic chemical dispersant for the already hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil that have spilled into the Gulf. They're continuing to push us to find an alternative, they being the EPA, said BP. We'll continue to try to find one. Meanwhile now, some 100 miles of coastline, about 60 miles of coastline in Louisiana have been affected due to the spill. BP says that the collection rate is down to about 1,300 barrels a day from 2,200 barrels a day. This is the oil that they're skimming off the surface, so they now believe that the effects of trying to retard the spill have in fact met with some success. Meanwhile, here in London, a group of Lloyd's insurers are talking about going to the U.S. federal court to see that they're trying to get a judgment that the $700 million cover that was sold to Transocean, which is the owner of the rig, would not include paying BP's cleanup costs from the spill. And here's an interesting facet of this. The insurers claim that the policy covers pollution, quote, originating above the surface of the land or water. They say that because liabilities BP faces for pollution emanating from the well come from below the surface, those liabilities are not within the scope of the additional insured protection. That's going to be a very fine line. The suit filed in U.S. District Court in Texas says the group that sold the excess liability cover to Transocean includes Zurich, XL Capital, Axis, W.R. Berkley, Navigators Group, and Liberty Mutual. BP now faces more than 130 lawsuits filed already by thousands of commercial fishermen, property owners, and other people affected in the Gulf. There's been a tragedy in Turkey this morning. A bus carrying Russian tourists skidded off a highway in southern Turkey and then fell off a bridge, killing 16 passengers and injuring 25 others. It occurred in the Mediterranean province of Antalya. Another interesting facet of this story is that 3 million Russian tourists visit Turkey annually. That's quite a number. In Costa Rica, a volcano erupted yesterday, spilling geysers of lava, ash, and toxic gases from its crater, forcing the evacuation of a national park that surrounds it. The 1,600-meter tall cone-shaped mountain in northern Costa Rica, in the Arenal National Park, erupted. The last major eruption of Arenal was in July of 1968, and that killed 90 people. Meanwhile, the volcano in Iceland, with the unpronounceable name, is very quiescent at the moment. Stories in the British press indicate that the air travel crisis has now eased permanently. There was an oil tanker collision off Singapore this morning. A tanker collided with a bulk carrier in Malaysian waters. The tanker was the MT Bunga Kelana 3. The bulk carrier was the MV Whaley. It occurred at 2200 GMT Tuesday. About 2,000 tons of oil have spilled into the sea. The Tanker Holdings, AET Tanker Holdings, owns and manages the tanker. Malaysia's largest shipping company lists the Bunga Kelana 3 as an Aframax class tanker built in 1998. That's a unit of the state-run oil company Petronas. Petronas, of course, from the Petronas Towers, a rather wealthy family in that area of the world. Jamaica is still having big problems. If you're anywhere near a cable TV station, you've been seeing it. Gun battles have now escalated throughout the Jamaican capital, Kingston. Numerous bodies have been reported on the street. The police and the Jamaican army are now involved trying to attack a fortress which has been set up by a drug lord named Christopher Coke. Mr. Coke is wanted for extradition, and if he is finally captured, will be sent to the United States. If you've also been near a TV, you've seen pictures of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner in China. Mr. Geithner made a speech this morning to a group of Chinese officials, telling them that the Obama administration will cut the American budget deficit once it is certain that the economy is growing again. He said, quote, "The basic strategy is to make sure that the American economy is growing and then institute long-term reforms and restore the basic discipline to the budget process that we've abandoned in the previous decade." China holds about $900 billion of U.S. Treasury debt, and they're obviously concerned. Geithner is in an airplane now, and he's heading here to London. He's going to meet the new British Finance Minister, George Osborne, and then tomorrow he's going to Frankfurt for meetings with the European Central Bank. Finally, somebody well known in London, Tony Blair, has a new job. He's joining a Silicon Valley venture capital company called Khosla Ventures. Khosla Ventures was founded by Vinod Khosla. He's an investor and a proponent of green technology. Mr. Blair will offer strategic advice on public policy to the firm's green portfolio companies. Blair said, "The more I studied the whole climate change issue and linking it with energy security and development issues, I became absolutely convinced that the answer is with technology." He'll lend his name to projects, make introductions, dole out advice, but will not be involved in the firm's day-to-day activities. For example, Blair said he could potentially help broker a deal for one of the companies to attend a demonstration plant in a particular country. It should be noted that it's estimated that Mr. Blair has amassed a fortune of some $60 million since he has left office. Pretty good work if you can find it. That's the news for today. In about 3 hours, Queen Elizabeth II will travel from Buckingham Palace to the House of Lords. She will read the government's budget plan, announcing the legislation that the new government is laying out for this future year. The papers here are abuzz with tens of billions of dollars of budget cuts that are being planned, so people are waiting here with some expectation as to what's going to come next. Thank you for watching. If you have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Bye.